I was watching that clock like a hawk, and I looked away for a minute. When I looked back, it was already 8 o'clock. Good morning, everyone. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for March 30th. March 30th is the 89th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 90th in leap years, with 276 days remaining to the end of the year. This is also National Doctors Day. More about that in a minute. Let's see here. Today's word is perihelion. Perihelion is a noun that means the point nearest to the sun in the path of an orbiting celestial body, such as a planet. The word perihelion comes to us as a mashup between Latinized Greek and Greek, word parts that mean near and sun. Near the sun, perihelion. First known use of the word perihelion is 1666, perihelion. And with that, the first recorded perihelion passage of Halley's Comet took place on March 30th in the year 240 BC. Halley's Comet is one of the few comets that can be seen with the naked eye. It's well known and has been observed by humans for thousands of years. It comes back around about every 76 years, and its appearance has been associated with many different cultural beliefs and interpretations over the centuries. It was the English astronomer Edmund Halley who studied the historical records of comets and calculated that many of these historical records actually referenced the same comet that appeared periodically. He predicted that the comet would return in 1758, and it did, although Mr. Halley was not around to see it when it did. But he was right, and it has been known as Halley's Comet ever since. The last time Halley's Comet was visible from Earth was in 1986, and it's expected to make its next appearance in 2061. Halley's Comet. Good morning, Dogbite. I can see the comments today. Hello, KMM. Have a wonderful day yourself. All righty. This is the birthday of John Proctor, born March 30th, 1632. He was one of the victims of the Salem witch trials, convicted and hanged for witchcraft in 1692 when he was 60 years old. Those were difficult times. His first two wives had died in childbirth. He and his third wife had a tavern, which she ran with some of the older children while he worked the farming operations they had in the area. Some disagreements arose, probably with one of their neighbors over the operation of the tavern. Things went downhill from there. Initially, witchcraft allegations were made against his wife Elizabeth, but he came to her defense. And like the eye of Sauron, the focus turned towards him. It was a horrible situation. They and their children were treated terribly. The individuals who presented those accusations were definitely in violation of the commandment that says, "Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." The entire community behaved badly in this regard, especially towards Mr. Proctor's survivors, his wife Elizabeth, who, by the way, was spared execution because she was pregnant at the time of the conviction, and, of course, his many children. John Proctor's story was dramatized in Arthur Miller's play The Crucible, which is based on the events of the Salem witch trials. In the play, Proctor is depicted as a tragic hero who sacrificed his own life to preserve his integrity and protect his family. I think the options were admit that you're practicing witchcraft and maybe we won't execute you. But the people who denied being witches were usually convicted and executed. It was horrible. Anyway, today people see Proctor as wrongfully accused, a symbol of standing up to wrongdoing, and as an example of how dangerous mob mentality and hysteria can be. Scholars and historians still research and discuss his life story, which has been the subject of numerous books, plays, and other works of art. And that is John Proctor. Hoping to keep the see, we don't have a transition here. Here's the transition. Hoping to keep New England colonies dependent on Britain, King George III formally endorsed what was called the New England Restraining Act on March 30th, 1775. This act sought to require the New England colonies to trade exclusively with Great Britain as of July 1st. An additional rule would come into effect after that, which sought to prohibit colonists from fishing in the North Atlantic. King George III wanted to keep a lid on things, but actually was just making things worse. All righty. Ether was used as a general anesthetic for the first time on March 30th, 1842 by American surgeon Dr. Crawford. Dr. Crawford Long. Dr. Crawford Long. It's a guy with two last names. No, his first name was Crawford. His last name was Long. Dr. Crawford Long. Seems he didn't publish any studies or reports about this, though, so some other doctors sort of stole his thunder a few years later when they performed surgery using ether as an anesthetic in a public exhibition, one of those surgical theaters. Dr. Long was first, though, and he was credited thusly, although posthumously, when National Doctors' Day was organized for March 30th in honor of the anniversary of the first use of general anesthesia in surgery using ether by Dr. Long. Oh, Mother Mary. Okay. Hi, Mother Mary. This is the birthday of Dutch painter and illustrator Vincent Van Gogh, born March 30th, 1853. He was quite prolific, creating over 2,000 works of art, of which about 860 are oil paintings, and most of which he created in the last few years of his life. I know this story, but I'm getting goosebumps right now. Known for their bold, vibrant colors and expressive brush strokes, Van Gogh's paintings often depict landscapes, portraits, and still lifes. Some of his most famous works include Starry Night, Sunflowers, and Irises. Little regarded while he was alive, he was posthumously come to be regarded as one of the most famous and influential figures in the history of Western art. Sadly, he suffered from mental illness, depression, anxiety, and poverty, and ended his own life in 1890 when he was only 37 years old. That's Vincent Van Gogh. And here in the Bowers household, we have some prints of Van Gogh's work and also replica pieces made by artists who are still living. There's one in my bedroom of his bedroom at Arles, and the artist put a can of Coke on the nightstand. I'll try to remember to get a picture of that and post it sometime. It's pretty amusing. Many, many, many other things happened and notable people born on March 30th, and I do talk about some of those in previous episodes for March 30. I will add links to those to the, the thing down below. I didn't remember to do that before right now, but I'll do that. Put links in there to some of those for you. All righty. Now, today's song is Sunshine on My Shoulders by John Denver. Co-written by John Denver, Dick Niss, and Mike Taylor. John Denver, Dick Niss, and Mike Taylor. John Denver said the inspiration for this was at what was most likely about this time of year from the way he described it. Late winter, early spring. Got those mixed up. In Minnesota, when it's dreary, gray, and slushy and cold. Kind of cold, not much fun outside if you don't enjoy the cold. And you're really looking forward to spring. When I lived in Cooperstown, we called this time of year mud season. But I think they're getting more snow again at the end of March. There's certainly something regenerative about sunshine, though, especially in that situation. And Sunshine on My Shoulders by John Denver hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on March 30th, 1974. There is a link in the description to that if you'd like to hear it again. And that's it for now. Look for those links I mentioned and maybe some other links too. And again, I don't know if I'm going to have time to edit a video with pictures for tomorrow. Hope so, but if not, we'll be live again. In any case, I'll see you tomorrow. All right, now how do we do this? I look for the thank you very much button. Thank you so much for coming and watching, and thank you so much for those likes. Y'all go on and have a wonderful day, all righty? And I'll see you next time.